Tess, a tale of two games, that's for sure. Just how do you keep the negatives and the positives in perspective after tonight's effort?
Obviously we're very disappointed. We wanted to come out on top, but Coach came in and we showed a lot of effort and we showed a lot of grit. And we were losing by 20 going into the fourth, and we went on a run. And I just think that shows that we have the capability to be a championship team. And really, it was all effort. So.
When it was so many mistakes strung together, whether it was near ball free throws, illegal screens, time and again, shot selection, togetherness, just how do you have short-term memory with that and just focus on the task that's ahead?
Obviously, it's hard. It's very mental, but just us girls coming together and telling each other, we can't control the refs. We can only control what we do. So when we're setting screens, making sure we're set, we're not moving, and just taking it play by play. Forget what happened. We can't change it. Just playing free. We're all going to make mistakes. So just really us picking each other up.
When you all talked at halftime tests, was it a positive, just putting the past behind you and just focusing? You had really strong starts to the third and fourth quarter as a team. Just how important was it just to have that opportunity to reset?
It was very important. And a big thing was we knew the mistakes we were making. Obviously they were getting offensive rebounds. Our identity is pack line, playing man-to-man, but based on the numbers coming in, we knew that us playing zone would put us in the best position to beat them, just going off their numbers. And so embracing the challenge going into the second half of sticking with the zone and boxing out. And that was our biggest thing. We were beating ourselves at that point, and we knew it. And so coming into the second half, we knew what we needed to do, I guess.
How pleased were you? They're a team that does put the ball in the basket in large spurts, and to an extent that was present tonight, but they shoot 34-4 from the field, 24-3 from three. Does that give you some solace with the defense? You've already had the pack, and now you can show you can establish another look and have success with it?
For sure, yeah. I think the biggest thing with us is we are pretty versatile, and we're open to, like Coach always says, we're very teachable. So just embracing and trusting our coaches, and I was really proud of us in our zone, because I think obviously that we're a little tentative. You're comfortable with what you feel confident in. So I was proud of the girls.
What did you, obviously you have to love the fourth quarter. How was it just stringing those plays together, and just that's the loudest I've seen the Coop this whole season?
It was amazing. The energy was awesome. The fans, hearing them chant. I don't think I've really played in an atmosphere like that here yet at Duquesne, so that was really awesome. And they really got us going, and Megan finding Yanni and PJ inside. PJ gave us a great spurt off the bench.
When you have an atmosphere like that, and you can see when you guys find success that there's an instant reward, just how exciting is that to play and continue to boost yourselves through that?
It's amazing. And I think the past 2 years that I've been here, we haven't had much success, but I think that tonight we just really showed that we have the opportunity and we have the ability, and seeing everybody rally behind us was really awesome. And I think finishing the non-conference is going to be huge for us. We're going to stack some wins, and then going into conference, I think that we should be very, very confident.
Moral victories kind of can go either way. You're into December now, still to an extent learning about the team. Just how do you process, you kind of mentioned it earlier, but how do you process this one and, again, just try to take that next step forward as a team for Delaware?
Like Coach says, we're just going to watch film and we're going to get feedback. I think obviously our coaches are proud of us. I'm proud of the team. I think we're all proud of ourselves. But just going back, looking at, the second quarter was a bit rough for us. I think we dug ourselves in a hole. And, we went into halftime down by 12. We were still in a good position. So there's a lot of good to take from it. But just, I think, more critiquing ourselves and executing.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Todd. Appreciate you.
Coach, you can give an opening statement.
So, we came out on the short end tonight against a very good basketball team in Tulsa. And as we planned for this game, we understood that this was going to be a very difficult challenge. Tulsa plays the Princeton offense, and they have 2 years of doing it, and they're very well coached. And we are playing the Princeton offense also, but we've only had a year, really not even a year. We've had a summer trying to master it. You can see the differences. They executed very, very well, especially in the first 2 quarters. We, for the first time this year, played zone, which really affected them, and we got them to take shots that maybe they didn't want to shoot. We knew they were going to make threes. We knew they were going to make threes, but the only thing I'm really disappointed in is that we allowed ourselves to get beat to offensive rebound after offensive rebound after offensive rebound until the fourth quarter. And I want to reflect and focus more on the incredible fight that our players had in that fourth quarter and the effort that they gave. They played with poise, they played incredibly hard, they played with physicality. And if we do that going forward, the way that we played the entire fourth quarter, we're going to win a lot of basketball games. So in the locker room, I said that we need to look at this as feedback, not failure. And the feedback is that we know that we can go to the offensive glass with more people, and we can be that aggressive and set the tone the way that we did there and have great success. And so we're going to look at this as a springboard. We have 3 more games in 9 days, and we're looking at this as a springboard as we move forward.
Skewing first, Dan, back to the negative, just when you see so much of the downside, the illegal screens, the offensive rebounds, which you mentioned, an airballed free throw down the line, just how do you make sure that everybody stays with the head on their shoulder and just next task, next play?
If we set illegal screens, that means we've gotten away with 5 or 6 of them. So if we get an illegal screen once in a while, I can live with that. I don't have a problem with that. Free throws are free throws. Sometimes you're going to miss them, and sometimes you're going to make them. You want to. I'm not trying to be flippant. You want to shoot the free throw better. A miss is a miss, whether it's an air ball or not. I could care less if it's an air ball. If it doesn't go in, that's, sucks either way, whether it's an air ball or it doesn't go in. We ended up being 11 for 15 from the free throw line, but early on, it really doomed us in the first half. In terms of the blockouts, we had 3 offensive foul calls against us where we blocked out really strongly and set the tone physically there. And the way it was officiated, it didn't allow us to have success. And that had nothing to do with the referees, being bad refs. They're good refs, actually. It's very good officiating crew. That's the way the game was called tonight, and we made the adjustment. But to get 3 offensive foul calls on blocking out in the first 14, 16 minutes of the game, that's disappointing, and I'm just glad that we were able to flip the script a little bit. In the first quarter, they had a kid on an offensive rebound, literally on the floor, get a 3-point play. And then they had another scenario very similar to that. And, those are just tough plays that happen sometimes over the course of the season.
You in the past, Dan, have called yourself a riverboat gambler. When it came time in the first quarter, the second quarter, when they started making that run, was there a temptation to call that timeout, or did you think that end of game, that comeback was there and you just trusted the ladies to figure it out on the court?
I don't know what's going to happen in the third or fourth quarter when we're in the second quarter. I have no idea. I know that our effort will be there and that our kids will never give up and they'll play really, really hard. And that's what they do. That's all I can go on. The run that they made in the second quarter was not their biggest run. Their biggest run came in the first half. And, it was a situation where, in the second quarter, you'd have to be more pinpointed. I don't really remember it, to be honest with you. They hit some shots, and the only thing I can remember in the first half, the first or second quarter, is guys, you have to understand, this is a game where there's gonna be a lot of possessions, and they're gonna miss some shots, and we're gonna make some shots, and the score is gonna fluctuate a great deal. And, you know, we just have to offensive rebound. And I kept talking about offensive rebound after offensive rebounding. And, you know, it was definitely a tale of them doing some things better than us early, and then us really putting on a very good performance in the fourth, but just coming up short.
When you don't take moral victories, but you have to obviously, as you mentioned, be pleased with the fourth quarter, just what did you make of that energy from the bench and from the fans? That's probably the loudest I've heard the Coop in quite some time, Dan.
That's the last I've heard the Coop, regardless of who's playing, in a while. That was a really good crowd tonight. Kudos to our marketing department for that. That was a very good crowd. It was a big crowd, and it was a very good crowd, and I hope that they'll come back. I hope that we gave them something to be proud of, even though we came up a little bit short. The effort that they displayed. When we went into the fourth quarter, we were down 18 points, 19? We're down 20. We're down 20 points, and we came back to a one-possession game, and you know we just couldn't finish it. Feedback, not failure. We definitely have figured some things out tonight, and we move forward.
Was the play for always out of that timeout for Yanni to have the ball leading scorer, know she has that mentality in the post, was that the idea, just give the ball to Yanni and let her go to work?
Yeah, Yanni is a kid that can score and be really effective, and she's continuing to grow with having that alpha mentality and having the ball in her hand in late game situations and us counting on her. And she did a nice job tonight of scoring the ball in the fourth quarter. I really liked the set that we ran out of the timeout for Tess to get the wide open three. Vanessa drew that up, our offensive coordinator. She did a great job with it. I believe it's actually a play that we saw on Twitter that someone ran, and I was like, that's a really good set out of a timeout. I think that's one of the ones I've sent her, and she, to her credit, she drew that up, and those kids executed it perfectly. So, you know, kudos to Vanessa. Vanessa did a great job for us, and Tess, you know, got a great look.
Last one I have for you, Dan. Despite the O boards, you mentioned the Pack's success earlier this season, the switch to zone. You held them to 34-4 from the field, 24-3 from deep, and it's a team that sometimes has a penchant for putting the ball in the basket. To be able to play multiple looks and have some success running them, how do you think that versatility is going to help as December slowly turns to January?
That's the longest question I've ever had, Zach, and I don't know if I can follow all of that.
Great, thanks. It's too late at night, I guess.
You know, as we go forward, we have to shoot the basketball better. Our starters can't, you know, our starters can't shoot the ball that poorly, and we had shots, and so you know, we've got to be able to knock down shots. Both Precious and Yanni did a great job of doing that, and you know, we've got to recognize a little bit earlier that we've got to play inside out to start, and we need to drive the ball. Meg McConnell can drive the ball on anyone. And, you know, I think Meg today set a record for her, a PR with 15 rebounds. I don't know. It is a record. You're talking about a kid who's legitimately 5'7". She's the leading rebounder in Atlantic 10. And she added to that total tonight with 15. We're going to be fine. Feedback, not failure. And we're going to be really successful this year. I hope that the fan base that came out tonight and the crowd that we had tonight, which was just pure energy and fantastic, I hope they come back.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you for supporting women's basketball.